Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Yankee Stadium. My name is Jason Zillow, and I'm the Vice President of Communications for the New York Yankees. On behalf of the entire organization, I'd like to extend warm holiday greetings to all of our fans, many of whom are joining us now on the YES Network, MLB Network, WFAN, and Yankees.com. Today's press conference gives us the opportunity to officially announce the signing of Aaron Judge to a 9-year contract. It's a special and significant day for Aaron and his family. It's also an exciting and historic day for this proud franchise. Aaron was drafted into this organization. He developed and refined his skills as part of our minor league system. And since 2017, he's been a superstar performer for the Yankees. He's also become one of the great ambassadors for the game of baseball. Amazingly, after the conclusion of this new contract, Aaron will be part of the Yankees family from the years 2013 to 2031. Given how much change takes place seemingly almost every day in the sports industry and professional sports, there's great comfort in knowing that Aaron Judge will remain a constant figure here in the Bronx and still wearing the pinstripes. So congratulations to all, and as we begin, I'd like to introduce the members of our dais. Starting to my far left, Yankees Chief Operating Officer Lon Trost, Yankees Manager Aaron Boone, the longest-serving general manager in Yankees franchise history. Let that sink in for a minute. Brian Cashman. Of course, Yankees team president Randy Levine. To my immediate right, the man who was called the tip of the spear in the contract negotiations with Aaron and his representatives, managing general partner Hal Steinbrenner. The man of the hour, Aaron Judge, and his wonderful wife, Samantha. Congratulations, you two, on your 1-year anniversary. A man who needs no introduction, but I know I must, otherwise I'd get in trouble. Yankees legend, Derek Jeter. And last but not least, Paige Odell, who is Aaron's longtime representative. Thank all of you for being here today. Derek, thanks for making the trip up. We appreciate that. With the table being set, I'd like to bring up Brian Cashman to the podium.
Thanks, Jason. These are exciting times, and as Jason touched on, I've been part of this great franchise. I've had the fortunate pleasure to be part of this great franchise for a long time, and part of that history has been a lot of great players have come through here and been a part of this storied franchise. What's more special, including today's reintroduction of one of our great players, is when you're talking about a homegrown player. It is a rare occurrence to be in a position to sign, draft, develop, and ultimately retain a player throughout his entire career. And today we're excited to reintroduce Aaron Judge as part of that legacy. I'm talking about players like when I first started here, Don Mattingly was here as a homegrown player that started and finished his career. We've got Derek Jeter here. You're talking Jorge Posada, Bernie Williams, Mariano Rivera, Andy Pettitte. These are all examples of players that were drafted, signed, developed, retained. And the retention part is very difficult because that has to do a lot of different things have to occur in that scenario. You have to have an ownership that's aggressive and willing to, play on the retention side of it. You have to have a player who's willing to forego all opportunities to stay because he is in a place he wants to be, a place that he and his family are happiest at. And so, there's a lot of important ingredients that go into that. And this is another example of the Steinbrenner family stepping up to retain a great player in Aaron Judge, as well as a great player wanting to be here and stay here. And it's not an easy task when there's a lot of great opportunities that exist elsewhere, a lot of good organizations and a lot of amazing cities that have a lot to offer. So with that, we are very proud that we can say we're here to retain one of our own. And so thank you, Aaron, for being here, and thank you, Mr. Steinbrenner, for doing everything you've done to allow that to happen. With all that being said, I'd like to turn it over to our manager, Aaron Boone, for his remarks, and thank you.
Thank you. Welcome, everyone. I asked Zillow how long I'm allowed to talk because I could talk about Aaron a good while. So with apologies if it's too short, too long, today is a great, great day to be a Yankee. And I am really grateful to Hal and to Brian and to Aaron and to Paige and the family for getting this done, because there were certainly some tense moments from my end leading up to this day, and people have asked me over and over, what was it like, that day before we were able to reach an agreement. So I'm going to put it in layman's terms for you, and I've tried to explain this. So that feeling, if you lost your cell phone, your keys, your wallet, and your iPad, gone. And the next morning, someone knocks on the door and says, "Were you looking for this?" That's a little bit of akin to what this was like. But in all seriousness, we got our guy. And I think many of you in this room know how special he is to me, but how special he is to this organization. And when you sign a player to this kind of a deal and for this long of a time, obviously, we're talking about a great player between the lines and one of the great two-way players of our game. But what I appreciate about him just as much is who he is in our room and who he is in our clubhouse and who he is as a teammate and as a person. And, I think when you see him go through a season like he just went through, an historically great season, I think pay attention to how everyone reacts to it. Pay attention to how his teammates react to him. And every step of the way, I think all of them got more enjoyment out of it than probably even Aaron did. And that's because of the way he delivers every single day with who he is and the consistency of who he is. So that no matter who walks through our clubhouse, whether you're a rookie getting called up for the first time, whether you've come over in a trade deadline deal, whether you're a superstar player next to him, whether you're on the staff or a clubhouse attendant, ask them what they think about Aaron Judge. On the record, but in a private moment. And I truly believe that when we're looking back on Aaron in 20, 30, 40 years, and you're going to have great conversations about this, awesome player. His size sticks out, obviously, and man, how is this two-way player able to do it? But you're going to hear, if you have the privilege of knowing someone that shared a clubhouse with him, of having private, I guarantee you, conversations about just what a great teammate he was and who he was. And that's one of the things that I've enjoyed getting the opportunity to be his manager the last 5 years and now beyond, is seeing who he is on a daily basis and just how he treats those around him. I would also say, though, don't be fooled by that. That's all very real, but between the lines, like many of the great ones, like the guy down here towards the end of the table, they're coming to rip your heart out. They're playing this game with an edge and with a swagger, and that's another thing that I love about Aaron Judge is, you know, there'll be times when Chad Bowling, our mental skills coach, he walks down to the dugout before me. He walks by my office right before I head out, and every now and then he'll say, "Look out for 99 today." And I know when he says that to me, something special is going to happen. And every now and then he'll give me a look and or say something to me like, "I got you today." And I've told this story before, but I don't remember exactly where we were. It was either in Baltimore or Seattle this year. And he goes up there his first at bat, strikes out, doesn't have a very good at bat, comes back, and I kind of say something to him about his at bat. I'm like, you know, kind of, what was that? My bad, Skip. I got you. I got you. Next day, B goes up, homer. And from third base to home plate in only a way he can do, with that combination of swagger and humility, he's just looking at me the whole way down the third base line to home plate. Just, you know, one of the many things I love about him. But my favorite thing is, and I told him this year, I was going to stop trying to take him for granted, because obviously he's in the midst of this amazing season. And I think one of the things that I love about this job, about this game, and I know Aaron does too, is, you know, at the end of the day, we're trying to win. And one of the best things in this sport is you work really hard to shake hands at the end of the day. And a lot goes into that. Long term, from the off-season preparations to short term to the day of game. And you try to never take winning a ball game, because it's not easy, for granted. And we try and, you know, appreciate that every night. And as many of you know, we give out a belt every day to the player of the game. So the last player of the game gets up and delivers that. And I walk in where I stand right next to Aaron every night. And this year, just having that first row seat to his season, and we talk about the game, and there'd be days where I'm like, you know, we'd won a game, I'll say to him, "You weren't that great tonight," you know. And we'll kind of walk through his game, and I'll be like, "You had a double, 2 walks, maybe made a great defensive play," and I'm like, "Man, you did kind of have a good game." And he'll always say, "I got you tomorrow. I'll do better tomorrow." But that's who he is. And there's so many things I love about him and appreciate about him. But at the end of the day, he's an amazing player. But equally, and as represented by this deal, he's an amazing person. And I can't think of a better guy to be the face and the leader of our team moving forward for the rest of his career. So congratulations to you guys. I'm so humbled and blessed to be a part of it, and it's just been, I can't wait to do more with you, and I know to hoist that championship one day, which we know we're going to do. Just hard getting there. But with that, congratulations, and I'm just grateful to be here and sharing this day with you. And with that, I think I get the privilege of presenting some flowers to Samantha Judge, who we coordinated our outfit today, Sam and I, so we thought it would be fitting that I get to hand the flowers. And we're also going to present Patty Judge with some flowers as well. Derek is going to do that.
And now we'll call Yankees Managing General Partner Hal Steinbrenner to the podium.
Well, needless to say, we are extremely thrilled that Aaron's going to be with us for many, many years to come. He's a great Yankee on the field, off the field. Leadership in the clubhouse is off the charts. All the reasons Aaron in his short speech just talked about and mentioned. The last month, it was difficult to imagine the New York Yankees without Aaron. And one of the conversations we had 2 weeks ago, I actually said to him, as far as I'm concerned, you are not a free agent. As far as I'm concerned, you are a Yankee, and we need to do everything we can to ensure that remains the same. Technically speaking, of course, I was incorrect in my feelings. Aaron was a free agent, and there were numerous clubs that wanted him in a big way to be a part of their organization. Fortunately, in the end, it all worked out, and we're all sitting here today. And again, he's going to be with us for many, many years to come. Having said that, it is my great pleasure, thankfully, despite a brief absence, technically speaking, to welcome Aaron not only back to the Bronx, but to welcome Aaron back to the Bronx as the 16th captain of this great organization, the New York Yankees. An honor and a position which he greatly deserves. Aaron? Yes, you've worn before. You can write that. Put it on?
I guess turn it around, Hal, before he puts it on. You guys can take a photo like that. Yeah, lift that up a little bit. Yeah. All right.
This way, gentlemen.
Okay, great. Aaron, if you want to put that on.
Good for me.
Still fits. Still fits.
Aaron Judge, everyone.
Wow. First off, I want to, thank Mr. Steinbrenner and the Steinbrenner family and the whole Yankees organization for, believing in me, the past 6 years and, all the way back to 2013, believing in my ability, a little kid out of Fresno State, bring to the Big Apple. It was a blessing and an honor, and getting a chance to continue, something the Yankees, are so big on, which is legacy. You get a chance to continue my legacy here in pinstripes, in the best city in the world, the best baseball city, in the front of the best fans. This is an incredible honor, and how what you just said about getting a chance to be the captain of the Yankees now. It goes without saying what an honor that is. I look back at the list of Thurman Munson, Lou Gehrig, Ron Guidry, Willie Randolph, Derek Jeter, Don Mattingly. That's a pretty good list right there. Not only great baseball players, but great ambassadors of the game and great ambassadors of the New York Yankees. How they pride themselves on the field day in and day out, how they take pride in what they do off the field to represent this organization and represent these pinstripes. Man, this is an incredible honor that I don't take lightly, and I'm gonna continue to try to be the same leader that I've been the past 6 years. Continue to lead by example, and I know there's probably gonna be a couple more responsibilities with this, but I'm here to embrace every single obstacle and continue to lead this team and lead this city to not one but multiple championships down the road. So I just want to say thank you to everybody, my wife Samantha, my family for being here, Paige, David, Jeremy, everybody, and nice surprise too with Derek and Willie, all you guys showing up, man. This that means a lot. So just thank you guys.
Okay, everybody. At this point, we'll take a handful of questions for Aaron. As a reminder, everybody up on the dais, once the formal portion of the press conference concludes, we'll be making them available. But for this session here, we're just going to take a handful of questions for Aaron. Okay? Aaron, step back up. Brian Hope to the right.
Aaron, congratulations. Being named captain, how did they ask you? How did they break the news to you? And how did you react?
I was actually.
It was 3 in the morning your time.
Yeah. Yeah, it was 3 in the morning. I was back in California. I was on the phone with Hal. He shot me a message earlier about kind of what's the holdup? You know, what's it going to take to, you know, get this to the finish line? So we hopped on a quick call, and I knew he was busy, and you know, he said it doesn't matter the time, you know, give me a call, and you know, we worked some things out, and then at the very end, he spoke about, you know, Thurman Munson was his favorite player, and you know how important,
And Willie.
and Willie, there we go, just how important the captain and that honor is to not only him and his family, but the team and this organization, and you know, kind of presented it with me, and I was kind of lost at words. I don't think I said anything for, it felt like 5 minutes, but it was probably only a couple seconds. But I was just pretty taken back because that is, you know, such an incredible honor. Like I said, you look back on this list of individuals who've had this title. It's such an honor. I'm, you know, just really blessed to, you know, be a part of this organization again for 9 more years and finish my career here.
We'll stay right next to Brian, Bruce Beck.
Aaron, congratulations. Could you ever imagine yourself not being a New York Yankee?
No, it was tough. That's why this whole free agency process was, you know, it was a different situation. You know, I think it was valuable to, you know, see some other places and hear some opinions. But, you know, once that was all done, I got a chance to sit down with my wife and talk about a couple of things. You know, we both, you know, kind of came to the decision that was in our heart, which is, you know, we belong in New York. We belong in this city, and there's a lot of unfinished business here in New York. And, you know, I'm looking forward to finishing that business and, you know, trying to leave a legacy here for, you know, the next group of guys coming behind me.
Tina Servasio in the middle right.
Aaron, congratulations. I just heard the most recent captain give you a little bit of advice. Through this whole process, did former Yankees, former legends, or any of your current teammates, such as Anthony Rizzo when he resigned, did any of them consult you at all? Talk to you a little bit. Did you consult with them at all through this process?
Oh, definitely. I spoke with a lot of individuals, teammates, past teammates, former captains, two that are in this room, old coaches. I spoke with a lot of people because I don't think any decision, you know, should be made by one individual. It should be, you know, collect your thoughts from a lot of trusted sources and people that you really rely on. And, you know, I value a lot of the people that are in this room's opinion. And, you know, I think it ultimately came down, what they all said is, you know, go with your heart, you know, go what's going to be best for you and your family. And I think what ultimately came down to is what's best for my family is, you know, staying here in New York and, you know, continuing this legacy and leaving something special.
Go to Brendan Cuddy against the wall on the right.
Aaron, congratulations. What was the day before the agreement like for you, specifically when it seemed like there was a possibility that you may have come to an agreement elsewhere? What was that moment and that period of time like for you?
It was difficult. I was actually on a plane, so I really kind of missed all the stuff going on about where I was going, where I was going to be at, you know, so I kind of, thankfully no Wi-Fi on that plane, so I kind of missed that whole mess. But, you know, it was a stressful time, but, you know, like I ultimately said, it came down to, you know, me and Hal getting on the phone and talking about some things, and he was kind of the one that, like they said, spearheaded it all and said, hey, what's it going to take? And I even go back to our first conversation after the season ended. You know, he says, you know, you're going to be a Yankee. You know, and this was within 5 minutes of me being there. I was like, okay, we're going to be in here negotiating, going over things. I got to, you know, have a poker face on. But he came right out and, you know, spoke from his heart and said, hey, you're gonna be a Yankee for life, and, you know, we're gonna get this deal done. I don't like waiting, so let's go for it. So, you know, the day before was stressful, but I think I knew in my heart where I was gonna be.
We could take one or two more if there are any. Right here in the front left.
Aaron, congratulations. How important was it for you that the Yankees brought back Aaron Boone?
You know, like Booney said, he's been with me for, you know, 5 out of my 6 years here in New York. You know, and I kind of go back to a conversation I had with him one of the first days, you know, we met when he was the manager. I spoke to him and I kind of said, hey, I know there's going to be some ups and downs over the next couple of years, but I'm going to be right here alongside with you, day in and day out. That'll never change. Good season, bad season, wins, losses, no matter what happens, I'm going to be right here with you. And he kind of gave me the same sentiment that I'm going to be right alongside with you too. So when I heard they were bringing back, Booney, I thought that was the right decision. He's a great leader of this team and this clubhouse and this organization, and just how I'm able to lean on him throughout the season. I go into his office quite a bit and voice my opinion about things, or talk about how I can step up and help this team a little bit. And he's always that calming force, I think, in this clubhouse and with this team to be the right guy to lead us.
Take two more. Chris, front left, and then Bob against the wall on the right.
Aaron, congratulations. What do you think of the other moves the Yankees have made so far in free agency, and how close do you feel that this team is close to being a championship caliber roster?
I'm excited about all the moves. That's one thing that I spoke with Hal a lot about is, we want to get back to where the Yankees belong, which is, holding up that trophy. And, Hal spoke to me and said, hey, I'm all in. This is, whatever we need to do to, fill some holes, fill some gaps on this team. And, they were able to do that. I think going out there, bringing Rizzo back, who's also a big leader in this clubhouse and a big part of this team, was a great first start. Bringing, another guy that's familiar with the Yankees, Tommy Kahnle, back, who's going to be a big bullpen arm for us. He's going to be huge. And then also the recent signing of Rodon, what that guy's done over the course of his career, and, especially the last 2 seasons, man, that guy's a bulldog. And I think he's going to fit right into this, New York mentality of, being a winner. He oozes that confidence, and, excited to share a clubhouse with him. And, there might be a couple more moves down the road. I'm not too sure, but I know they're always working on something to try to improve this team day in and day out. So I think we're definitely in good hands on that front.
Aaron, congratulations. Just following up on Brendan's question and Bruce's, it sounded like the other teams never really had a shot at you. It was predestined to be the Yankees from the get-go. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think, like I said, in my heart, I knew where I wanted to be, but I think going through this process was a valuable lesson, and it's a valuable tool to go through and just see what other organizations are about, because I feel like maybe I might have kicked myself if I didn't go through the process once we got here. And I think going through it kind of helped me eventually come to a better answer and a clearer answer, which is I belong in New York. So it was a tough situation going through free agency, talking with other teams and voicing your opinion, hearing what they got to say. But like I said, ultimately, I think it just gave me a clear answer that I belong here in Pinstripes and I need to finish my career here in New York.
Thanks, Aaron.
Thank you.
Okay, if I could just hold everyone's attention for one more moment. Before we conclude, I wanted to give a shout out to our students from Scan Harbor program in the Bronx, PS 73X. Kids, thanks for hanging with us today. We're happy you're here. Going to take a nice photo with Aaron out in the judges' chambers in a little bit. So we wanted to acknowledge all of you and the work that you're doing. So thank you for coming. As many of you know, we will break down the podium and the tables, and we'll have a variety of photos up here on the dais when we conclude here in a moment. For print media and all the local TVs, we have stations set up on the 000 level of Legends. We will be taking members of our dais there immediately following those photos. Also, I know Willie was mentioned, but want to give a shout out to Willie. Willie, thanks for coming. Patty and Wayne, thank you. It's good to see your faces again. Also, I know we're late in the program. I want to give a shout out to Susan Waldman, the recent honoree at the Radio Hall of Fame. Congratulations, Susan. That'll conclude our program. We appreciate everybody being here, and again, we wish you a happy holiday season. Get home safe. Thank you. All right, hang with me up here, everybody. We just got to take these tables off. Water's up there.
Thank you. Okay, good night. Great. Appreciate everything.
Well said.
You didn't
Really
ask me
well
how you
said.
did? You didn't ask me
Well
how I
said.
think you did? You did great.